Welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy, and with me today I've got Bill Blazer from the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. He is the Senior Vice President of Public Affairs and Business Development, and he is in the Detroit Lakes area and talking about a new online service that is offered to area businesses about questions. You can ask questions, any question you may have or anything you're dealing with as a business. You go to the website and you get it answered, and it's kind of a one-stop shop.
Well, that's a good way to characterize it, Carol. It's called the Business Connection, and it's designed to be kind of a bridge, if you will, between Minnesota businesses that have questions related to doing business in our state and a really rich array of resources, both from state and local government and the private sector. What the Business Connection will do is make those resources more readily available to Minnesota companies.
Okay. So say you have a question, you're just starting a business and you don't know where to start. That would be a good place to start at Business Connection.
Yeah, exactly. You can go to the website, which is www.mnbizconnect.com, and type in, I want to start a business. Or actually, you can do a keyword search, just say start a business, and the website will give you a list of resources, which, is really a kind of a recipe from A to Z on what you have to do to start a business. Everything from registering your name to getting the kind of licenses you need to getting tax ID numbers.
Okay.
So, or if you have a question about, whether or not there's anything in the federal stimulus package that would benefit your particular company, you go to the website and type in federal stimulus package business, and it'll list resources that are available to Minnesota companies through that piece of federal legislation.
Okay, and you can even localize it.
Exactly. You could ask, let's say you were thinking about starting a retail bicycle shop in Detroit Lakes. You could ask it about retail sales in Otter Tail County or retail sales in northwestern Minnesota. And if the word search doesn't get you the information you need, then there's another section of the website where you can literally type in a question. What are retail sales for bicycles in Otter Tail County or in northwestern Minnesota? That question comes to our office, and within 24 hours, we'll research it and get you an answer.
Okay. So how did this all come about?
This really is the result of a program that the Minnesota Chamber runs along with the Detroit Lakes Area Chamber and 45 other local chambers. The program is called Grow Minnesota. It's 6 years old. It's our economic development business retention program. And through Grow Minnesota, we go out and visit one-on-one with Minnesota companies. And we see about 800 businesses a year. And over the last 6 years, these companies, about, 1 in 7 of them, had a question. We go and we'd say, thanks for having a business in our community. How can we help you? And 1 out of 7 of them had a question. So we figured that if that was the case with the companies we're visiting, that there must be a whole lot of companies out there that we'll never see that also have questions. And so, to kind of help them get answers more efficiently and quickly than under the current situation, we created the Business Connection. We partner on the project with the Department of Employment and Economic Development, so when we get a question that we can't answer or it relates to state government, we'll refer it to them and get some help from them in terms of trying to answer it. And if we get a question that is purely local, like, how do I get a building permit in Becker County, for example, we use the local chamber as our resource in order to get that information.
All right. I'm visiting today on Hometown Happenings with Bill Blazer from the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. We're going to take a quick break and be back with more after this. Welcome back to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy here with Bill Blazer from the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. And Bill is going around the state in the community talking about a new website that businesses may go to visit to ask any question, get any information that they may want. Now, Bill, this is for companies and entrepreneurs, I understand.
Yeah, it's open to anybody who can get to the website, okay. Or there's also a telephone number that they can use. It's 1-888-646-6249.
Okay.
And so you can get to us through the internet, or over the telephone. And it's a free service. And our intent right now is to try and introduce it to the folks, to the businesses in the Detroit Lakes area. But as a practical matter, anybody in the world can use it and, ask questions about doing business in Minnesota.
Right. Okay, so now you, being from the State Chamber of Commerce, you've done some traveling around the state and visiting with all sorts of businesses. What is the climate out there, business climate out there?
It's really mixed. I find, for example, that when I go to southwestern Minnesota, I find a number of businesses that are actually expanding. In fact, Worthington, the big business issue in Worthington right now is a housing shortage, workforce housing, so that the one company is actually running a bus service from Sioux Falls, South Dakota to Worthington because there's no place for people to live in Worthington. But as you move from the southwest to northeastern Minnesota, it kind of deteriorates. And I think maybe the toughest business situation right now is in northeastern Minnesota. For example, Hibbing Tack announced that it's going to be closed through April of next year. So that plant will be down for almost a year before they start making taconite pellets again. This part of the state, it's really mixed. In Alexandria, a manufacturer that I visited with there tells me that he's now getting requests for proposals. And he's very clear that before you write an order, you got to do a proposal. So that gives at least that manufacturer some sense of optimism and hope. And I've had several other manufacturers in this part of the state kind of report the same thing. I think, generally speaking, statewide, the retailers aren't having the greatest year. A lot of them depend on clothing sales, and we're just not buying clothing the way we were the way we were a year ago or 2 years ago. And I think there's so much uncertainty in the economy that I think the retailing sector will have, tough times for, my guess is at least the next 15 months. There's, just uncertainty about the economy, whether I'm going to keep my job. People just aren't going to shop in that environment. You guys may be a little bit fortunate in that you're so close to North Dakota. Of the 50 states, there are only 2 that aren't running budget deficits. One is North Dakota. And to the extent that you can get those good folks from Fargo to come over here to enjoy the lake and to have a meal and to shop, I think in some respects Detroit Lakes is better situated than any Minnesota community in terms of taking advantage of the good times in North Dakota.
All right. I always said Detroit Lakes is kind of the end of the universe. So.
Well, but it might be the pot of gold at the end of the universe, right? Especially if you get some of those folks even from western North Dakota, where I think they're doing actually better than they're doing in Fargo.
Okay. Well, I have to clarify that. The center of the universe, not the end of the universe.
Right. The center of the exactly.
We all like to say that. All right. I'm here with Bill Blazer from the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce, and he is talking about a website, www.bizconnect.com, MinnesotaBizConnect.com. That's www.mnbizconnect.com. And you can check it out yourself if you have any question about businesses in Minnesota, what you need to do, and any ordinances or anything like that.
Exactly.
You can type it in.
Right. We don't want businesses kind of trying to puzzle their way through our business climate. Use the website, use the telephone number, ask us the question. We want to make it easier for a business to be successful in Minnesota.
All right. Bill Blazer from the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. Thanks so much for coming on Hometown Happenings.
Thank you, Carol.
All right. And that is going to wrap it up for this edition of Hometown Happenings. For TV3, I'm Carol McCarthy.